Traitor, listen. You have just 3 days to return the Golden Ninja Warrior to our master.
Listen to me. Traitor, I believe that you've received the death message from our ninja empire.
I want that manual. I was so close to becoming the ultimate ninja!
It's a ninja challenge. Which one of you'll go first?
So who the hell are you?
You two are Boris's men, right?
That's right.
Well, I got a message for him. Tell him the judge is here.
Fuck you!
Forget everything you know about ninjas. Forget everything you know about storytelling.
Well, I gather you're Boris's right-hand man.
You better believe it. Now prepare to die. You're gonna die.
Die?
You're an ninja too.
This is IFD Films and Arts. Beginning in 1973, Joseph Lie's IFD Films and Arts was founded during a time when Hong Kong cinema was a bustling enterprise. It was the year that Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon was released, and the Shaw Brothers Film Studio were busily pumping out as many films from as many genres as they possibly could. In fact, it was at the Shaw Brothers Studio where Joseph Lie had met young filmmaker Godfrey Ho. Together, they founded ASSO Asian Film and its subsidiaries IFD Films and Arts and ADDA Audio Video. The IFD formula was soon melded together with Joseph Lie producing and Godfrey Ho handling the directorial work. Essentially, a big part of what Godfrey Ho and IFD did worked like this. They would purchase the rights to an Asian film, usually from Thailand or Taiwan, and then they would edit the films in their own unique way. For the films we are discussing in this episode, we're mainly looking at their ninja production. It was after the release of Enter the Ninja in 1981 that Joseph Lie turned to this ninja concept as a way to make money. Ninjas were a hot subject matter all over the world, and this market certainly seemed lucrative. Lie and Godfrey Ho decided to take Asian films that they would purchase for a cheap price, and then release them with newly shot footage featuring Western actors. This was a way of getting foreign markets to carry their films more easily, and it also provided them the chance to shoot 1 or 2 weeks worth of footage and expand it into numerous films. With ninjas, westerners, and lots of cheap action, IFD seemed to have a winning formula. These movies, despite being universally considered Z-grade trash, have developed their own unique fan base, either through an ironic appreciation of them in a so bad it's good sense, or through the bizarre atmosphere and logic-defying narratives which truly do deliver something fairly unique within the cinematic world.
You know, the whole idea is to do things with intelligence. But I saw so many stupid things, and I used to think, my God, do they just half the time look for stupid people to work in cinema? You know.
Born May 26, 1936, Richard Harrison flew to California at the age of 18. As an athletic sort, Harrison found work in a local gym owned by Vic Tanny, a pioneer of the health club movement, and he found that many of his clients were also tied in with the movie industry. These people convinced Harrison to try his hand at acting, and this ultimately led to a long career for the young man from Utah. Harrison made his debut in the 1957 film Gene Eagles, which was a Kim Novak vehicle that detailed the life of the legendary actress who shared this name. As the 1960s began, Harrison was offered a chance to work overseas for the first time. It was during this period that he was afforded the opportunity to take his first leading role. In 1961, Harrison starred in Avenger of the Seven Seas.
Are you all right?
a swashbuckling tale that would be his first taste of success in Italy. Harrison ultimately ended up staying in Europe around 20 years, making a broad variety of films, westerns, thrillers, war films, and sword and sandal movies too. However, as the years went on, Harrison had to find work with lesser filmmakers than those he had been working with in Italy throughout the 1960s and 70s.
Carmichael. I must avenge you.
During the 80s, with the ninja craze ramping up and with Godfrey Ho and Joseph Lai looking for Western faces, they contacted the aging celebrity. The things that happen next are up in the air in some regards, and the question about how much Harrison actually filmed with Godfrey Ho is a question that is still up for debate.
Good. When can I leave then? Your flight is at 6 a.m. tomorrow, right? See you around.
The footage shot seems to have come from different periods, and some of the other Western actors from this era say that they saw Harrison in Hong Kong on more than one occasion, although Harrison claims that he was there for a much briefer time.
I started shooting, and then we finished and I left. And the first thing I knew was when I get a call from a German producer. He said, "Richard, how could you do this to me?" And I said, "What did I do to you?" He said, "I bought 10 of your films there," or something like that, because you're in the films. And I said, "I didn't make 10 films. I did one film for him now. And I have to admit, I never got to even see the script." Well, of course, what he did, they bought, I guess, any old film and just stuck 30 seconds of me in the film and say, "Richard Harrison in," starring Richard Harrison.
But what can't be denied is that the IFD crew took Richard Harrison's footage and spliced it into more films than he had contractually agreed upon. Harrison was understandably enraged. At a time in his career when his name still had value, the IFD product helped to hinder that, and probably damaged his ability to sell himself within select markets that had once trusted his name.
My friendship is the most important thing I have, and they betrayed it, so I have nothing good to say about them. They're disgusting people. They did disgusting films. I guess they made money from it, you know. But then prostitutes can make money too, so I guess it doesn't mean much.
And believe it or not, Harrison wasn't the only one who felt wronged by Godfrey and company. Bruce Barron was a younger actor during the IFD heyday. He was essentially raised in Hong Kong after his father began working there when he was a small child. He went to school in Hong Kong, learned the language, and considered it home. However, in his early 20s, Bruce Barron's father was murdered. It was a crime for which Barron says he was actually considered a suspect at one point. After he was cleared of the crime, Barron moved away from Hong Kong for several years. When he returned in 1980, his then-girlfriend set him up with some modeling agencies. This led to commercial work and finally to films. After legendary Hong Kong filmmaker Choi Hawk used him in Dangerous Encounters of the First Kind, aka Don't Play with Fire, Barron found himself in a good position.
Get the hell out of the way, you stupid bitch! Come on, move it!
He could speak Cantonese, he was in good shape, and he had a decent screen presence. This meant that he was able to take speaking roles, and filmmakers seemed to like him because he could translate direction to any of the other Western actors that were on the set. In 1982, Barron starred alongside veteran Bruce Lee imitator Bruce Lai in Power Force.
The paratechnique.
You know what it is?
I'll explain later. Let's go.
This movie, while not a massive hit, led him to working in the Philippines during the early 1980s, and gave him a bit more exposure within the Asian market.
With sword? No play.
During his Filipino days, Barron would meet Richard Harrison. Strange enough, this period would be the only time that these two would cross paths, because despite the two appearing on screen in IFD films, neither actor actually worked for the company at the same time. According to Barron, in his interview with Nannerland, he eventually hooked up with IFD, and according to him, they agreed upon terms that he would shoot 4 films with them over a 12-week period. During this period, he would be paid an expected salary. However, after the 3rd week, IFD had decided they had enough footage of him, and they let him go. It was at this point that Barron asked how they could be done so early, to which Godfrey Ho explained to him his method with these ninja movies. Afterward, according to Barron, he volunteered to take a 50% pay cut in order to have his name stricken from these movies. Godfrey didn't bite. All of this angered Barron not only because of the damage to his reputation, but also because he had agreed to do the films for a slightly lower price than usual because he was sure that he would be working for 12 weeks instead of 3. According to that same interview with Nannerland, Barron became a successful business owner that made his home between Hawaii and Hong Kong. Unfortunately, Bruce Barron passed away from cancer on April 13th, 2013. But not all IFD stories are quite as bleak. For those who were offered their first big break in the movie business, they have a completely different view of Joseph Fly and Godfrey Ho. Stuart Smith was born in Winchester, England, but grew up in Sydney, Australia. As a young man, he originally went to law school while working in the import-export business. But when school didn't work out, he found himself in the good graces of a local community group. This small group had started a government-sponsored film and acting school, and this gave Smith his first experience in the world of performance. He was originally tasked with doing on-screen interviews with local surfers, and he became addicted to entertainment. After this, he started taking bit roles and slowly moving up the ladder. At the behest of his agent, Smith decided to try his luck in Hong Kong. At the time, it was said that producers in the area were looking for Western actors to star in their films. The young actor spoke some Cantonese, was willing to die on screen, and he certainly had an interesting performance style.
Don't worry, my friend. He's a nobody. He got me when my back was turned.
So Lenny sold us out. And Alvin, that Interpol pig. I want those guys dead. Now!
Warrior 2, you'll have the supreme ninja power. I don't want this to happen. You understand?
Ninja challenge. Oh, shit.
According to an interview Smith did with the aforementioned Nannerland.com, Godfrey Ho's favorite turn of phrase on the set was, "I can't see you acting. More acting." After working on a couple of IFD films, Godfrey eventually approached Smith about dubbing his own films. This led to more work, a good paycheck, a good working relationship with Godfrey Ho and IFD, as well as an extended career within Hong Kong. As of last note, Smith was working in Thailand as a financial advisor, a long way from his mugging days as the young on-screen punk or dastardly ninja foe. Mike Abbott, a burly Englishman, was born in Cornwall, England, and was a pretty different actor for the IFD brand. A large and intimidating man, Mike Abbott was definitely one of the more imposing Caucasian actors brought in under the Ninja banner. While working numerous jobs, Mike Abbott had seen the world by the time he was 32. It was at this age that he arrived in Hong Kong. While working security at a local bar, he was spotted by a movie agent who approached him about being in a film. At 6 feet tall, 210 pounds, Abbott was the perfect villain.
I told you many times not to mess.
The agent who approached him worked for IFD, and this was the start of Abbott's 3-year run with the company. IFD had given Abbott his big break, and unlike Barron and Harrison, he didn't have any animosity about how his footage was being used. And despite there being an agreed-upon rule that IFD talent were not to appear in films that were produced by rival studio Filmark, Mike Abbott, along with Stuart Smith, were among the few actors to have worked for both companies. We'll talk more about Filmark later, but this was a company started by former Godfrey Ho and Joseph Fly business partner Thomas Tang. Abbott's work wasn't solely relegated to the IFD catalog, however. He had bit parts in John Woo's legendary A Better Tomorrow 2, as well as Wong Jing's City Hunter alongside Jackie Chan. He also worked with Indonesian cult film icon Arizal on Final Score and American Hunter. You may know this filmmaker for the absolutely bonkers cult oddity known as The Stabilizer. In the midst of his busiest years, Abbott started up an entertainment company, and once the film roles tapered off, this was what kept him busy. As of last note, he's still apparently at it and still living in Hong Kong. To be perfectly honest, not much is known about Pierre Kirby, the final actor from IFD that we're looking at in this episode. He has, however, become somewhat of an internet icon within recent years. This is in no small part thanks to Brad Jones and his internet character, the Cinema Snob. He resurrected a bit of interest in Kirby when he covered several of his films during his Pierre Kirby Week. But despite numerous internet sleuths doing their best to dig up Pierre Kirby information, we still do not know exactly where Pierre Kirby comes from, nor what happened to him after his short run with IFD. Unfortunately, much of the information out there is rather vague. What we do know is that Pierre Kirby burst onto the IFD scene around 1987, and would star in around 9 or 10 films until he vanished from the scene in 1989 or 1990. Unlike many of the actors in these films, Kirby actually had some on-screen charisma, and he played heroes and villains with his movies, a rare feat for IFD, who would often typecast their actors. And when it came to martial arts, he was easily among the most comfortable on-screen fighters from these ninja films. It is said by many that he initially came to Hong Kong while delivering yachts for a living. He was apparently doing this while also working as an actor. And it is said that the last time anyone had heard from him was when he was leaving Hong Kong in order to deliver a yacht to the Philippines. And after that, he was never heard from again. Rumors of his death and whereabouts are plentiful. But as of 2014, nothing has been confirmed in a public setting. Some actually said that pirates attempted to hijack his boat, but Kirby fought back and died in the process. Some said it was a typhoon that caused his demise, and this is obviously the more probable scenario. Still, others surmise that he's still out there, somewhere, possibly back at home in the UK. Whatever it was that happened to Pierre Kirby, it is a testament to him as a performer that he is still so fondly beloved by his fans. Things ran in cycles over at IFD Films and Arts. There was the ninja craze, some hard-boiled cop movies, and of course those beloved kickboxing movies. And generally, everything ran in circles at IFD. When you watch enough of these movies, you can easily pick up on numerous repeating ideas. Take, for instance, the use of photographs in these movies. Ninjas are an ancient secretive force, but they're not above taking full advantage of modern tech. Almost every time a kill order is established in one of these movies, keep an eye out for the photographs on display. Polaroids, film, headshots, screenshots. These ninjas come prepared. And bringing more technology into the conversation, there's always the fun way the filmmakers use telephones. Though this is something relegated to the Richard Harrison movies, the footage of Harrison answering his Garfield phone is absolutely legendary. But it didn't stop there. Often the telephone is used as a direct conduit between the two films that are being spliced together.
Jaguar, this is Harry.
Hi, boss. What's happening?
Tamashi's sister was kidnapped. I want you to take revenge by kidnapping Lily. We can make the exchange later.
To go along with these poor choices, we also often get some terrible dubbing.
Willie, my old buddy. Don't pull such a long face on me. You and I have been friends for over 10 years.
To go along with those awful dubbed voices, we often get some pretty interesting westernized names thrown into the mix.
Thank you for killing those other two bastards. My name's Larry.
He came with a black guy. They're looking for a bloke called Rudolph.
Bert, get some men together and finish him off.
And oddly enough, there's often some pretty over-the-top profanity in these movies.
Who the hell is that guy? Looks like trouble.
You guys are too noisy. Ross must be a lousy teacher.
What the fuck?
Shit! Hey, Lenny, don't trick with me. 7 is too high. I can get the same stuff from the Chinese for 5.
Go to the Chinese, man. I don't fucking care.
Let's make it 6. If not, fuck off.
What are you gonna do about it, lover boy? We might let you go if you kneel down and apologize to all of us.
Sorry if I offended you, asshole. No way.
Son of a bitch, why don't you fight like a man?
I've got to admit, you got fucking talent.
All of these odd choices continue for about 90 minutes before eventually it is time to close things out. IFD endings are usually comprised of 2 parts. Usually the Asian film will end, and then we get a tacked on 5 to 10 minute sequence where our ninjas get a chance to close out their own stories. And it happens abruptly. This is a trope that carries over from many older martial arts films. Often, when a resolution was found in these movies, the filmmakers decided to end their movie as soon as possible. IFD just made it more noticeable by using their gigantic wall of red. And if there's anything left to say about IFD, it certainly relates to Godfrey Ho. The director's name has become shorthand for the cut-and-paste genre. Although he is certainly responsible for a large share of these movies, he wasn't the only one working with this technique. At the same time, Filmark were also making cut-and-paste movies, and often when you look online, their films are misattributed to Godfrey Ho. A quick Google search for many Filmark titles along with the name Godfrey Ho will often turn up numerous results that put these two together. Even the Internet Movie Database often fails in this regard. They currently list Robo Vampire, which was a Filmark production, as being a Godfrey Ho vehicle, but in actuality, Godfrey Ho never directed anything for Filmark. We know this because of Godfrey Ho himself, who directly stated this during his interview with Arnaud Lanouk at the Hong Kong Cinemagic website. But even after everything we've discussed so far, there's still tons more to talk about with IFD. More stars, more silly genre conventions, and lots more fun to be had.
Stop it! I don't want to hear anymore.
All it takes is looking for the lovely lady who's trying to duplicate the Columbia Pictures logo while a Star Wars-esque song plays over the soundtrack. May not find quality with IFD, but it's easy to find entertainment.